We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are.
Hey everyone, welcome once again to yet another episode of Two Noobs Talking, T-O-O Noobs Talking. And of course with my good buddy John Tracy. John, how you doing today?
Man, how are you?
I'm doing good. We also have Mr. Steve Murray.
Yes, our
VR world over there. Steve.
Our other
How are you there, sir?
co-host.
Matt, is that you?
I'm here.
How did you get on this roller coaster?
I have no idea.
Oh my God!
I'm Matt Craig. Happy to be along for the ride. There you go. How about that? So welcome, everyone, and happy you are with us. As I mentioned, it's episode 65. And before, of course, we get started, who wore 65 for this in the city of Philadelphia? We have plenty of players. Johnny?
I was just waiting for the hat to get on Steve over there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
That's
Nice.
the first thing I thought when he pulled that off. I was like, he's not wearing a hat for the first time. I wonder if he... Oh, he's got one.
He's got one.
Wearing the hat impedes the VR, experience. So
Absolutely.
I think we need to venture into Two Noobs in Space
There you go.
as a VR. We need to record it in VR.
Two noobs
Ready.
in
That-
space.
That's going to float by the moon
Yep, there we go.
just before the nuclear reactor explodes.
65.
Episode 61. Check it out.
There you go. There you go. Throw it up there. 65, gents. We got a few players, obviously. We'll just start off with Lane Johnson. Caught a touchdown pass last week for the Eagles. I mean, come on. One of the best right tackles ever.
So happy for him. The best stat after the game I saw was 0 sacks allowed, 1 touchdown. That was literally a graph they put up during the game.
That's fantastic.
That's quality. That's quality production right there. For
There you go.
He was also accused by Jonathan Vilma of only having an 18-inch vertical. So
Yes. But
scaling the wall at the link did not go over that well.
Exactly.
But as we learned from that episode, Jonathan Vilma probably should have been quiet.
Exactly. Then
I'm also on Jalen Hurts. He should have lobbed that one in there. Give it to him nice and easy.
that was a bullet of a
It was.
What made it so great?
It was like
When Foles caught the touchdown in the Super Bowl, Trey Burton just kind of laid it in for him. All he had to do was wait. And Lane Johnson's like, "Oh crap! I gotta get my hands up."
It was unbelievable, but a tremendous catch. I mean, you can't ask for any better
Absolutely.
than that. Yeah.
Especially for a right tackle.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Guy never even touches the ball. Yeah.
My
exactly.
first thought when he caught it was, "Oh my God, was he eligible?"
Yeah.
because of that stellar crew that we had. You didn't even know.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Then Bubba Miller, who, John
Famous.
yeah. Kind of that bridge between him and Hank Fraley as the center for the Eagles. So it's kind of like, okay, that's kind of cool. Blew out his knee before John got a chance to see him, and
Yeah, exactly.
in the preseason there.
He's a
I thought
center.
it was John's fault.
Yeah, it totally.
It was 100% John's fault. Are you kidding me? Yeah, altered his entire career. Yeah, absolutely.
Just because I was there. I was picking on the Jets fan too when I was there, so it's even worse. So it was karma. I
Why did you
screwed
go
up.
to an Eagles Jets preseason game? That's my question. I mean, that's like
Who
terrible.
the hell knows?
But who? I mean, we also had J.D. Hammer. I think we also saw, which is
Groundhog Day.
Okay, I'm getting tired of JD Hammer.
yeah.
2 episodes in a row.
Numbers.
No, that's kind of crazy.
Not Ryan Madsen.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. Not Ryan Madsen. Flyers side though, Steve, you had one.
That rugged defenseman, Nate Gennin.
So good.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so good that we forgot about him until just now.
I heard he scored 11 goals in a New England Bar League game. I think that was his highlight career.
Probably did. Yeah, he probably
really did.
I'm sure he wasn't wearing 65.
he probably was not.
Probably wearing 99.
There was one Sixer though that did wear 65. back in the late 1950s. George Ratkovich.
Were they even the Sixers then?
How do you do that? 65, something like that for the call? For a personal foul there.
65.
There you go.
I don't know.
I mean,
I wouldn't do that. Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, that's nuts. But yeah, that's who wore 65 for the city of Philadelphia. It's crazy. It's an interesting hodgepodge of a list.
Yeah, they weren't the Sixers. They couldn't have been the Sixers.
I guess not. It probably would have been
before. Yeah.
Yeah, Syracuse Nationals, I guess, back then.
It had to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. We didn't look at deep into it. So
not really, no.
If anybody knows, leave it down in the comments, please.
Exactly. Well, gents, here we go. Episode 65, topic 1. It's on everyone's mind. Of course, it was a shocker when it happened, but the legendary John Madden, of course, passing at age 85. One of the all-time greats, probably the greatest color commentator ever. Of course, we all grew up when he was a color commentator. We all grew up with Summerall and Madden, and you knew that when Summerall and Madden came on, it was a very important game on CBS and Fox, of course, over the years. And
they didn't do a lot of Jets-Lions games.
They did not. No, they stuck a lot of that towards the back end of the bullpen there, but. It's interesting, all of the different games that they did. They did a few Eagles-Dallas games, which, Johnny, why don't you go ahead and share this, because this is my all-time favorite. And looking and perusing over everything, this was my all-time favorite.
They need 10 for a first. Troy Aikman back to throw. Gets it out. Not enough for a first down to Corey Fleming.
Unless they're going to try and draw him off sides, I think they cannot go for it here.
Emmitt Smith's the deep back. Emmitt Smith gets the carry. He doesn't make it.
No, that's a bad call. You can't do that. Look at the Eagles. They know that call could have won the Eagles this game.
They're field goal range right now.
And then all they have to do is run that clock down.
Now they're saying maybe the 2-minute warning ran out.
No, I don't think so. That ball was snapped before, and you can't stop the play in the middle of the play for the 2-minute warning. No, that's the Eagles' ball.
The Cowboys' offensive unit's still on the field.
Well, maybe they're saying that the 2 minutes.
The ball was snapped.
Watch the official on the far side of the field. He is signaling no play.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. They did say the 2 minutes came up before the ball was snapped.
It's fourth, and it's still a foot. Emmitt Smith is still deep with Darrell Johnston in front of him. Same play. Didn't get it again.
Didn't get it again. That's unbelievable. This is unbelievable. What in the heck is going on? The score's tied. You're on the road.
And then this TikTok video. We'll play this.
This is where it all starts. You see the 7-man sled.
It's the greatest game in the world.
Hit the 7-man sled. That's the first thing they do. So that would get rid of all hangovers.
Football has been my life, and it's given me so much.
And when you call that snap count, you should hear one boom.
Now, playing is the best thing. Coaching is the next best thing.
When you're coaching, you're just standing out here. You can ride this thing all day.
But when you can play it for a while and then go on with your life's work, and it's still football, you're the luckiest guy in the world.
Down, set, ready, 100, 200. Riding the whole thing.
Against my defense, back and shoot.
So yeah, that is the legendary John Madden, and that game was from the Dallas-Philadelphia game in 1995 in December. Eagles and the Cowboys were locked. I think the Eagles were behind the Cowboys by a couple of games or something like that, and the Cowboys were going into the playoffs, something along those lines. The 4th and 1. I mean, it's a legendary 2 stands by the Eagles to stop them. And of course, that call was just unbelievable. John, I'll go to you first. What are your thoughts on John Madden's passing there?
Dude's just a genius.
Yeah.
I literally last night, knowing we were going to do this, watched the All Madden documentary, and I'm more impressed with Madden than I was before. He taught me so much about football just by accident, like just from stuff like he said, like when he was on the sled, this stuff I'm talking about. Like once you call hike, you should hear one boo. Yeah. What does that mean? That means everybody's in unison attacking the sled at the same time. He took the game to that little level where he could explain it to anybody, a 2-year-old, a 90-year-old. He could explain the game to anybody.
Yeah. Steve, your thoughts on Madden real quick?
Yeah, I'd like to think he's been called home to call the next Super Bowl with Pat Summerall.
Oh yeah,
just to reunite those two guys, because they were a phenomenal team, and as like you said, we grew up with those guys, and they were I think the best NFL tandem you've ever had in broadcasting, and he hasn't been in the broadcast booth for, I think we determined, something like 10 years.
2009 was the
right after the Super Bowl. I found out again when the Steelers played the Cardinals. That was his final game.
Yeah, and I don't feel like he's been gone that long.
No.
I think it's just a testament to how good he was. Is you feel like he was calling a game last week. Just
I was actually shocked to find out that he had retired. I didn't realize that he had actually stepped away. I didn't realize that until just the other day, obviously, when he had passed, and I was just like, oh wow, I didn't realize that. I thought he had retired maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, but not 09. Wasn't even thinking about that. Not even thinking about that. One of the things that I'll always growing up in the 80s and into the 90s, it was every big game. It didn't matter where, if it was in the NFC East, NFC, wherever, and it was in the NFC, they were there doing it, Madden and Summerall, and you knew it was a huge game, and you knew there were huge, like enormous repercussions or whatever. Yeah. Implications with the games. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, but it was just the way that it was entertaining, and the fact that they also, Summerall, I think what made him so great along with Madden was the fact that they just drew you in. It was like the drama was just built in with both of them. And heck, even the 4th and 1 we just played, my God, it was just like, oh my God, you're like right in the middle of all of that. It was fantastic, just fantastic television.
We miss a lot of that in the Now TV. They kept it interesting the whole time.
Yeah.
Both of them, just back and forth, trying to figure it out. Like, oh no, that it shouldn't have happened. No, it did happen. Like, they were able to keep you. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
I know for a fact. Just watching, like we were joking earlier with the Vilma crew or whatever from the last Eagles game. As soon as the guy is tackled and the whistle blow, I'm on to something else until they line up again. Like, I am not interested in what they're saying at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, where's the, and I think what made Madden so great is that if there was a significant break in the action, or if the team was up 2 scores, he's off hunting for a story to make you laugh and to make you, enjoy the broadcast. And I think that's what made it so much fun with him.
That's what I think we'll miss the most about him. We won't miss it because he's retired, but like that's what we miss the most about him. Was
he's off sawing a turducken in half with his hand.
That was unbelievable. Like Al Michaels had absolutely no idea what he was like getting himself into when he's cutting that turducken right down the middle with his hand. It was like, wow.
Al Michaels did not deserve to work with the genius of John Madden.
Yeah. I mean, that I can't think. We were talking about this too in pre-production. Name another great broadcast pairing.
Yeah.
And it was hard pressed for all 3 of us really to come up with one.
Yeah, really. It's not. I mean, for now, since I don't have Madden, you got to go. Football. You got to go Buck and Aikman.
Yeah, that's probably your closest.
At least make it interesting.
Yeah. Steve had a good one with the hockey with Gary Thorne and Bill Clement, but again, that was like 90s, 2000s. So
that's hockey now. Here.
Yeah,
it's hard to find. Well, locally in Philly, we had Harry and Whitey.
Yeah.
that was as epic as Summerall and Madden. But
Madden.
like we're talking about, there really isn't. They're very hard to find.
Could you say zoom off an Allah, John? Do you think?
Not.
I don't think they had long enough. They didn't have a long
they
enough.
weren't around long enough. But the zoom off great, Allah continues to be great. So
okay. Yeah, you had Jim Jackson, but Jim was kind of paired with almost anybody, really. Dornhofer, and then you also had like Keith Jones, and I mean they're together pretty good too. But
you had Coates in there for
Coates was in there for.
I mean, they're all good at what they do. They all made it entertaining, but not legendary like Madden and Summerall at all. Not even close.
Yeah, and I think 8 Super Bowls between the two of them, combined.
Is that it?
8 Super Bowls, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but it was all of our formidable years. So it's like it was every
90s, 2000s, yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it was, gents. I mean, every big game, Super Bowl game. I wish they could have called every Super Bowl, to be honest with you. They were that good. I mean, Enberg and Molson probably would have given them at least a run, but
yeah. I mean, there's some greats, but
none like them. None like them. And of course, let's talk about the Madden football series, right? For crying out loud, we've had that.
I have a great story about that.
Yeah.
So I was reading after I watched all Madden. I was reading up a little more on him, and someone, I forget what newspaper. I apologize, but it was a piece of it. It said Madden's biggest regret in the video game. So when they first launched the video game, the guy from EA went to him and was like, you can buy as many shares as you want. And Madden, of course, being a football coach, as he's explaining it, he didn't want anything to do with that. I'm not a businessman. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't want any of that. Yeah. Later on in an interview, that was his biggest regret because the stock now is like $70 per share.
Yeah.
And many as he wanted.
Yeah. Well, you think that came out in I think it was late 80s, early 90s for sure.
Yeah.
And then it really caught fire in the mid to late 90s. Yeah. Of course, all of us, right? We're getting Madden all over the place.
It's just genius because he got into a project for the love of football. And he knew nothing about the project. And in the end, the project becomes amazing.
Yeah.
Because of his passion for football.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing.
I had Madden 93, I think, for Super Nintendo.
92, 91, I think it might, maybe 90, 80.
96 in the Sega Genesis, yeah.
The thing I loved about 93 was if you called your play on defense really quick, you could then jump in the offensive huddle and just start beating on people. And they wouldn't call Great.
Remember the ambulance in 95, the ambulance? When he knocked out, the ambulance was coming, knock people over, and the guy would just disappear into the ambulance.
I remember that, yeah. That was like 95, I think.
Like 95, I really did. I just remember my entire youth, either whether it was Super Nintendo or Sega, just the cartridges. And I know kids these days have no idea what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
But his face was on all of them. So Madden was a staple.
It was. Yeah.
Before players ever came onto the things, like Madden used to be on the.
Yeah, he was plastic.
I don't even know when that ended, but there's a big ass John Madden, like larger than life. The dude's huge. He was huge.
I think the players started appearing in 98, 99. I think that's when it started.
That would make sense.
That kind of.
We all talked though, and we all agreed as the franchise went on. Mm-hmm. It became much too complicated.
Oh yeah,
for us, but I know younger generations that are like, "Oh, Madden's easy. Well, I can use 97 buttons because I got 3 extra limbs because I don't even know what the sun is."
Is that part of the evolutionary process?
I think so.
It must be. I just
got 12 arms.
I just remember being at John's place. We were playing whatever version. This would have been early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to throw it because I'm a thrower. I like passing. And I'm like, oh, how do you catch the ball? I was like, well, you got to push X and then you got to hold this down here and the joystick's got to be up here. If you want to make him catch with his rear end, you push the 2 top buttons on the controller. And I'm like, get me back to
what's going on here?
Back to Super Nintendo where it's just throw the ball and he catches it on his own.
I remember in 96, they, I think it was they had the passing windows. So you would go back,
like
you would tap A or something like that. The 3 windows would appear on screen, and then you could lightly touch it to lob it, and then of course like you'd press it down hard, and there'd be a bullet pass, that kind of thing. The bullet passes never worked in that game. Never worked once.
No, you could never. Still to this day, I don't think you can bullet pass in Madden. I really don't. Like you can't. There's no like big punch, like quick throw, like Jalen did to Lane Johnson. You can't do that.
You can't do that. No, there's no way. Yeah, you had to moderately pass it. That was the thing. And as long as you could get it to a moderate pass and let it go, then you could have some success to it.
Now the dumb shit they have meters on them. If you get into like the advanced levels, now there's a meter on your back arm throw. Like,
my gosh. That would confuse the heck out of me.
I love my kids. I love video games. I can't play video games with my kids. That's how advanced it's got. I can't even think of playing anything but Home Run Derby in MLB The Show. It's the only thing I could do because that's just read, react.
I'm gonna confess that even going back to Madden 93, there was an extensive playbook, and I don't think I ran much more than
no, you only ran 5 plays. Yeah, no,
5 plays. Like especially on defense, like I don't know what 46 is, but there's a lot of dudes on the line of scrimmage. I'm gonna use that.
I'm gonna do that. Yeah, exactly.
I would find like 2 defensive plays that I liked. And I'm like, okay, that looks like a blitz. I'm just going to run that every time because maybe I'll get the quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't defend a pass to save my life unless I sacked the guy. So.
I think for me, I got really good at running the football. And that's where I think really in Madden, because I remember over the years it was like, oh, you can't really run the football in Madden. It's like every time I popped it in there, it's like, okay, just have to be patient, let the players move and block. And it's like, I'll just wait behind them for the opening to go and then do it. And I can remember too, also with the playbooks, it would maybe you have the formation and then you would select the plays. You're talking maybe 50 plays. I mean, it wasn't that much, but yeah, once it got into like 08, 09,
oh god,
it triplicate. I mean, it was more than triple or even quadruple what it was. Like 200 plays. It's like I can't do that. It's like no. And you got like 40 seconds and you're trying to figure it out.
I don't even know how they did it back then with 11 plays. The fact that they do it now with 175.
Yeah.
The only Madden thing I've ever learned that I knew something about was Andy Reid's playbook because I called Sean McVay out it for a couple of years ago on Facebook for running Andy Reid's like 2002 playbook. And it turned out I was actually right because if you went into the Madden that year with Sean McVay, he was using the same damn playbook. It was the same exact one.
Yeah.
I'm a Tecmo Super Bowl guy.
Oh yeah.
That had simplified playbook and there was no problem running the ball in that game.
Oh yeah.
Done.
I used to love the Bo Jackson where he'd go into the line and it would like doot, 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 and he'd shoot out the other end.
Exactly.
About 100 miles an hour and nobody could catch him.
I always played the Buffalo Bills. And okay. Thurman Thomas you could run with or you could throw with Jim Kelly. Yep. I had a friend of mine who lived in Baltimore. He would play as the Redskins, and they had like these insane motions.
Oh yeah,
like 3 guys would be in motion. 3 guys moving. Yeah. So that's probably why I could not get into the Madden playbook. It's just like I'm too used to like okay up A, up A. And this is like
down B.
Matt's talking about you got to pick your formation. Oh, I don't shotgun. I know that formation. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was a 49ers guy with the Tecmo. I was a 49ers guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Jerry Rice, John Taylor. You can't.
I was the Eagles with Randall.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Mm-mm. Quarterback Eagles.
Oh, QB Eagles. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So that's our thoughts on Madden. It's just a beloved. We're gonna miss. It's just like man, this is gonna be hard. The NFL. It's interesting too. Before we move on, there's talk. Pro Football Talk was thinking about, okay, how do we immortalize him? Mm-hmm. Do we plaster his name on the John Madden Pro Football Hall of Fame? Or do we call like the All-Pros now All Maddens?
Well, here's the thing. Roger Goodell's going to fuck it up no matter what.
Oh, I have no doubt about that. Yeah.
No. You can't do anything with this NFL. Like, he just needs to be loved by the fans. I think Madden would rather be just loved by his people than that piece of garbage that they're going to throw on somewhere. They're going to memorialize him somewhere it doesn't mean anything. Yeah. That's what they're going to do because that's what they do. They don't.
Like trying to name him after the Super Bowl, and I'm like, I don't think that.
No, I'm all for the Pro Bowl idea is the best one because it's the way it should have been forever because that's how they used to pick the Pro Bowl. Yeah. He used to pick the Pro Bowl basically.
Oh yeah,
what I was talking about. You know what I
mean? The All Madden list was like that was the Pro Bowl. You're right because it was like
the All Madden team was basically the Pro Bowl. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the Old Man might work. And, they had an Old Man show when he was on with CBS, and Summer Old Man would do it right before the Super Bowl. It was like must-watch viewing.
That would be the best way if they incorporated something about Madden. Just don't throw his name on it. And that's what I mean by what Roger Goodell would totally do. He would just throw his name on. He wouldn't bring any of the character of John Madden. And that's the one thing I've always said in hating sports and what they do. That's the one thing I love. When Dusty Rhodes, one of the famous professional wrestlers, ever died, the WWE did something amazing because they found a way to immortalize his personality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean by it. Not many people know how to do that. You're talking circus to sports, but that's what I want to see with Madden. He needs to be immortalized. His personality needs to be immortalized, not just his name.
Yeah, and to be able to try and figure that out with Roger Goodell as commissioner.
That'd be like arguing with a penny.
How come you're not more than 1 cent? What's wrong with you? Exactly.
Abe Lincoln, for God's sake. More than a penny.
Exactly. Well, topic 2, gents. Let's move on. And we've had some interesting developments with this Omicron variant. Omicron variant. There you go.
It's prime in this household.
Yeah, that kind of deal. The CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
That makes me laugh every time you say that.
Yeah. Cutting the quarantine days, gents, if you catch COVID, from 10 to 5 days after consultating with the National Football League and the NHL. I'm sorry, that's sarcasm alert. Sorry.
Don't forget about Ford Motors and
Ford Motors and Walmart, et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, sarcasm alert. Wanted to get your thoughts, Steve. I'll go to you first. The CDC cutting the quarantine days here from 10 to 5. I mean, on one hand, it seems pretty good. On the other hand, it's kind of, you're kind of scratching your head, I think, right? Maybe?
I think it's pretty obvious what they're doing here. I mean, they realize that if you're going to base isolation and quarantine off of whether or not you test positive for the virus, regardless of whether you have symptoms, and you're going to make those people wait 10 days, and Omicron is out there replicating and infecting people, and the cases are going like this.
Yeah.
Essential services are going to have a hard time staffing, medical field, transportation, all kinds of things are just going to break down. And so this was a way to say, hey, look, people getting this Omicron, especially if they're vaccinated, it's rather mild.
Yeah, it's not killing.
If you're asymptomatic, we probably ought to get you back to work quicker. And I think that's really what the thinking was behind this. I don't think this is, well, I've heard that the part of the idea for 5 days is you are deemed most contagious 2 to 3 days before you feel symptoms and 2 to 3 days after you get symptoms.
After you feel symptoms. Exactly.
So that's 5 days-ish. I don't know how that works when you don't have symptoms at all.
Seems a little, yeah. No, it was get percent.
I don't know how scientific this can be, but it's pretty clear we've got to realize that we can't be frozen and paralyzed in fear with this thing.
Exactly.
And continue to live in a functioning society.
Exactly.
So let's go back to work.
I think that's the biggest point of why this is happening, because we need to have a fully functional society.
Oh yeah.
For everybody to, like you said, get back to work. It's also Another article that came out, we'll put it in the show notes too. I sent it to you guys, that said that they're not even going to test after it because they're not even sure that the PCR test will be right.
Yeah.
So they just stopped the test. So that not only are they cutting it 5 days, they're not testing you on the, because if you test positive, they know how this thing works. So it's good.
I was just going to say, on top of that, it's funny you mentioned that, John, because about a year ago, so this is before, before the vaccines and all this other drugs and all that stuff is being forwarded out onto the marketplace. I had a friend of mine who works with me who tested positive for COVID, had the disease, came out of it, healed, no problem.
Yep.
He went and got a second test after he recovered.
Yep.
And so it was like he was still positive with the virus. So it was like, even though his body had completely defeated it, he made the mistake again of doing the nasal swab, and he gets positive. He's asymptomatic. 7 to 10 days he had to quarantine again. And so it was like, it's funny because now you have the CDC director, Rochelle Walensky, said this, quote, "Not all of the cases are going to be severe," to Steve's point. In fact, many are going to be asymptomatic.
Many,
yeah.
Many are going to be asymptomatic.
That's the biggest word in that.
Interesting. We want to make sure there is a mechanism by which we can safely continue to keep society functioning while following the science.
I literally have no issue with what they're like. I'm sure the right has a huge issue. Like, look, we were right all along. Like, they want to do that, and the left is going to be like, oh, we're going to die. But the people that actually want to do something and
exactly
travel or
I think the argument now is this should have been said a year ago. That's where the things kind of get politicized, I think.
I agree with that statement, but nobody knew.
No.
Yeah. It's not like the media was helping.
No.
Now that the media is helping, and now that the CDC is actually making a guideline that makes sense, people are on board, and that's the way it should have been in the beginning.
Yeah,
I think the cut down to 5 days it's a lot has to do with the current version of the virus.
Yes, absolutely.
It's turning out to be, particularly for the vaccinated, less troublesome than earlier versions of it. So to say that they should have done it a year ago, I can't say that for certain, but
just throwing that argument out there. Yeah.
I mean, John's right. I mean, this is just going to be more fodder for both extreme sides, it's
basically all this is. So it's
exactly.
I'd love to stick around in the argument, but we're going to lose the argument because all we want to do is just live life on the parameters in which keep people safe.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, and we also, if you start to think about this too, this is a little bit separate from the issue. We'll throw this in here too. The fact that there has been so much fraud and so much
corruption around it. Yeah, absolutely.
Corruption around the virus. Someone said that on this podcast. I don't know who it was. Some joker. But
out of my mouth every day.
Criminals stealing nearly $100 billion in COVID relief.
They meant to say
funds.
politicians. It was a Freudian slip in that article. They meant to say politicians, but they said criminals.
The fact that they've
politicians.
Here's the thing: they've only recovered $2 billion of the $100 billion.
Because AOC stole most of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
You could actually that's on Google. You can find that.
Oh, there you go. The CNBC article that we've sourced here: the stolen funds were diverted by fraudsters from the Small Business Administration's Paycheck Protection Program. You remember hearing about that one, Jen?
That was the biggest piece of garbage Trump ever put out. I understand it made sense to help people, just like stimulus made sense to help people.
Oh yeah.
Both of those things.
But the moment, that's a great point. The moment that came out, that was fraud written all over it, right? I mean,
that's all it was. That's all that was.
Because I kept thinking about like the stories you would hear about people buying the hand sanitizers. I can remember there was one, I think, on Facebook somewhere where a guy bought like 400 or 500 cases of this hand sanitizer and was trying to
resell
sell it on eBay
with an insane markup, right?
with an insane markup. Yes.
Stuff with toilet paper and all that. It was criminal from the beginning. When you're in a we've learned this. When you're in a pandemic, don't give people a ton of money to be bored with.
Yes.
When they're still working, because then you get all these scandals. That's basically what happened. That was the biggest mistake they made. And it wasn't that they gave the money. There was no trail or trace to it.
Yeah.
It took them over a year to find all of it.
Find it.
You should have, not for nothing, you should have applied for it because to be honest with you, I worked the entire time. I didn't need a stimulus.
No.
But I know people that did, and I didn't have a problem if they would have got double if you just took mine away because I was working.
Yeah.
I have no issue. Like, me and my wife joked around about the stimulus all the time. We called it blood money. Because it's not like we were freaking starving.
Yeah, here's the thing, though, John. The government has shelled, this is from the CNBC article here, the government has shelled out about $3.5 trillion. $3.5 trillion in COVID relief money since the start of the pandemic.
That's less.
$3.5 trillion. That is incomprehensible to think of that kind of money being shelled out from the United States government.
Yep.
You don't think there's at least fraud and at least 10% of that, if I'm doing the math right, since I've got my guy here.
It would be 10% of 1 trillion, so it's going to be more like
you're talking $100 billion, right?
$100 billion is 1% of $1 trillion, but you've got 3.5 trillion, so you're going to reduce that.
That's probably 35 billion.
So what are they saying?
I figured that out. Post-production.
Right.
What are they saying? What's the article say? 300.
The article is saying that the government has shelled out $3.5 trillion in COVID relief money since the start of the pandemic.
But what's the fraud that they're calling in that article?
Criminals have stolen $100 billion. So it's not it's $100 billion. So it's a billion with a B.
Look, every time, and this is just the sad state of humanity, is every time you have a disaster,
yes,
there are people. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's COVID or if it's a hurricane. Somebody died of cancer. Somebody is going to try and take advantage of the sympathy, and make money off of it. And it's just it's sick.
Oh yeah.
Well, the government even does it with Social Security. Not to call the government out, but they do it with Social Security and anything for disadvantaged children or children that need a little bit more help, SSI, that kind of stuff. Yeah. They put an application fee onto it. So they say they're going to give you. They say they're going to give you $100 to handle services for this.
Well, who do you think is paying that $50 application fee too?
Exactly. The federal application fee comes off at $50.
Yeah.
So you're actually getting.
Yeah.
It's the federal government does it.
Someone's got to process that.
Learned it from.
Yeah, someone's got to process that. All I keep thinking too, Steve. Really, that's such a great point. UNICEF, I think, is the biggest fraud organization. You're talking about children that are in dire need and dire support, and that's run by the United Nations. That is a fraud organization.
You're triggering me. I actually have
with it.
about that.
I mean, the pennies I collected trick or treating weren't given to the children.
No, of course not. No.
I got yelled at once. I think I was like 9 years old. I was trick or treating with my friends, and I had a candy bag because that's what you do on Halloween. Mm-hmm. And this lady dressed us down because we didn't have a UNICEF box.
Wow.
We were 9. We didn't know what that was. She yelled at us for a solid 10 minutes that we were terrible.
You have a UNICEF box.
Yeah. I'm like,
well, lady, what's preventing you from cutting a check to UNICEF if you're so concerned about it? Why are you waiting for 9-year-olds to come around with boxes to give away your pennies? Piece of shit.
That's why he's my friend.
I love it. I love it. It
literally happened. That's a childhood memory. He triggered me, Matt.
I was just going to say that. I'm sorry to traumatize you there, John. Sorry about that. But
I go through extensive therapy for that. No, that's a real story. That's a real.
That's 100%. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah, that was big back in the 80s and 90s. Are you kidding me? Come on, everybody was doing that back then. Yeah. Well, gents, let's move on here. Topic 3, and this one was by request by John. So I think in pre-production I was going to go to Steve first, but this is a Rumble. We're not going to play the video, but we're going to link to it in our show notes. There's this father, Catholic father, Ed Beck, was on CNN. I think it was right around Christmas time, probably Christmas Eve when they ran it. And the question was, well, it's Christmas Eve. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Should Christians really be gathering at church, for Christmas Eve? Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And the good father apparently said that it is not cool for those that are unvaccinated that they should attend church on Christmas Eve.
Not cool.
Not cool. Yeah, spoiler alert. Sorry, John.
Not cool, Ed. You're just not cool.
But Steve, thoughts on this, real quick? What are you thinking about? With this Catholic father here saying this.
I feel like he's a shepherd that's about to lose a lot of his sheep because. If that's how he wants to run his church, he's free to have his own personal vaccine mandate. But I mean, what bugged me was when I watched the clip. He was talking about, this is it's the remind me the humane thing to do or something like along that line.
He was saying that Jesus would have done it. Jesus would have just got vaccinated so he could go to church. That was basically, I'm paraphrasing, but literally. Yeah. He was laying it on thick.
Yeah, but the thing it's been bugging me, especially recently. Another current event, the World Junior Championships in Canada for hockey just got, even though they had started, it just got canceled because there were a couple of positive cases. And it's funny to read the comments. The people who are in favor of the cancellation. When somebody says, I feel so bad for the kids. This is could be their last opportunity to represent their country at this level. And the response from some of the people who are in favor of the cancellation was, well, it's just a game. You don't want to risk that for getting COVID. And it's like, I understand these kids were all vaccinated.
Yeah. If
you are vaccinated, why are you concerned?
Yeah.
That's the biggest truth.
Yeah.
Right. To me, this is like the people, and I would love to know someone who is I'm vaccinated. I'm fine. I'll go out. I feel safe.
Same.
Okay.
Yep.
Someone who is vaccinated who still feels like we need to be shuttering indoors. I'd love to know why, because it's like saying, well, driving is unsafe. Now I have a seatbelt, but I'm still not going to drive.
Or I'll take the seatbelt off while driving. That kind of deal.
No. These people wouldn't take the seatbelt off.
Oh, that's
they
right.
Would say, I have a seatbelt. Yeah, that's to keep me safe, but I'm still not going to drive because it's still not safe enough.
Mm-hmm.
It bothers. So this father's like, the unvaccinated shouldn't come to church. Well, if he's vaccinated, what does he have to worry about? Yeah. Well, he could catch COVID. Well, you could catch COVID from vaccinated people too. I think part of the problem here was the messaging up front convinced people that vaccination equaled
health.
No, not health. Getting rid of COVID.
Yes.
Like it would not exist anymore.
Yeah.
And now the reality is hitting people like,
hey, wait a minute.
This is actually going to stick around.
It doesn't actually work that way.
Yeah.
Right. Vaccination just keeps you personally from getting really sick.
Yeah.
From it.
Yeah. It doesn't keep everybody around you.
You're not bulletproof. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. But just because somebody's not vaccinated, who's in the same room as you, you are vaccinated. Whether you catch COVID from an unvaccinated person or a vaccinated person, that's not going to make a difference as to how it affects you personally.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, why is he concerned?
It's a great question, and I'll before we throw it down to Matt here,
for his epic tirade.
My simple point is, he said exactly these words: fully vaccinated people.
Yeah.
And what I want to say, just simply to this, is Fauci's already moving that goalpost, saying it's 4 times. So who actually is vaccinated? So is he just on CNN pushing an agenda? Probably. That's what I thought.
If you're on CNN, I assume that's why you're there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
100%.
So, but that's what I'm saying. Like he's using that rhetoric of fully vaccinated. That's the thing I pulled out of it the most. I think he just wants to be glad handed. He just wants to be a part of the process that is pushing this agenda.
Yeah.
And by the way, he was not pulling off the priest collar with the red sweater at all. That was
just wasn't working.
That was all.
Yeah.
Do better.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of ways to go with this, gents. To be honest with you, I will say this. I did a little additional research on this guy and found that, in May of 2020, he was also on CNN basically saying, essentially with Trump saying like, well, we're opening up church. You can go to church. Remember all of that back in the day. Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, we don't really need to gather together in church. And that's news to me, because I think if he read the book of Hebrews in chapter 10, he would actually find that you shouldn't forsake the gathering of the saints. That's in the Bible, that kind of a deal. But that being aside, I, of course, joined a brand new church in Christmas, around the Christmas holiday. And we had people that wore masks we have a lower level and we have an upper balcony level. And around September, October, when there was concern about the Delta variant being around, there was talk, okay, well, what are we going to do? Are we going to limit our congregation again, or are we going to open it up? If we're going to open up, do we have people wanting to wear masks if they don't feel safe? They're debating this back and forth. And finally, the decision was made, okay, well, if you want to wear a mask, it's completely your option. If you want to wear a mask, you can go up to the balcony level and sit there. You still have a good sight line to the pastor giving the sermon, whatever. We're still going to take care of you. Otherwise, you're welcome to be in the lower level without a mask on. Okay, no problem.
And just sorry to interrupt, but you could also be in the lower level with a mask if you wanted to, right?
Bingo, exactly.
Yeah, so it's just giving you safety at every level.
Giving you safety at every level, not segregating you at all. Welcoming you, saying like, if you want to come in and wear a mask, you're more welcome to, and you can sit anywhere basically. And I think that's the way that the church handled it. The church handled it correctly and rightly. Not every church did that. This jackass, I keep thinking like, all right, well, I have to show proof of vaccination in order to get in. That's already against everything that the gospel preaches in the Bible completely. You don't need a punch ticket to go into a church. You can walk in and sit down anywhere, essentially, in a church, hear the good news, leave. That kind of a deal. You don't require proof of vaccination.
Or get help if you need help.
And exactly, thank you. Yeah. And then just today, gents, I got a postcard from one of my a great couple that said this: "Greetings and welcome to our church family. Matt, we're so happy you have joined Proclamation. We look forward to seeing you up front as part of the choir.
We look forward to seeing your vaccination card."
And we're looking forward to seeing your vaccination card. No, but it's from a great couple, older couple. They sent this out. Any church, any good church will do this for you. I can't even begin to tell you guys how wonderful this church has been. And it's really important that around this time, this is what a church does. They rally around each other. They and especially around a new member or whatever, but they rally around each other. They pray for each other, whatever the case may be. They don't segregate like this jackass did, essentially. This is someone you avoid. Again, you avoid preachers like this. If he's happy with his online church with 5 parishioners, so be it. But don't go on CNN and complain like 6 months later, hey, I don't have, no one's coming to my church. I wonder why.
Well, that's for federal money because he's a scumbag.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my epic rant for the.
Awesome. Glad you found a good. I'm really glad that you found a church that you feel very, very strongly about. It's awesome. It's just great news for that too.
Yeah. It makes the world a difference, really. And they're few and far between, but they're out there. You just have to look and do a little research and find, and they're there. So. Absolutely. But gents, let's wrap this up here real quick with our fourth topic before we hit the happy. We're all huge sports fans, right? Obviously, we were talking about John Madden earlier on, but we wanted to kind of just throw this together, and I think this is kind of more of an ad lib topic. 5 really cool uniforms, 5 really bad ones. And Steve did the liberty here of.
He's got a
I'm gonna go,
list.
I think off of Steve's list. Why don't we do that?
I had to because there's just so many potential in both categories.
Absolutely.
I couldn't keep my head straight if I wasn't.
Yeah. So why don't we go ahead and just share our list?
Yeah.
Share your list.
Share your good list before we get. We'll on the bad note. So share your list.
Yeah. Well, the bad ones are more fun to talk about anyway. All right. So good list. For bias purposes, I did not include any Philadelphia teams because obviously.
The Eagles, Kelly Green. I mean, come on, that's like the rest.
Absolutely. I mean,
I would sell that the high ground. So yeah, I'll leave it off of my list too.
All right. So my list for the coolest. For hockey, I got the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah,
the red jerseys. I think those just look so awesome.
The classic with the blue helmet. Yeah, classic.
With the blue helmet, the blue pants.
Oh,
you can't go wrong with that.
No. And I know John's probably going to disagree with this, but I also in the hockey realm, I like the old Florida Panthers red jerseys too.
With the leaping,
the leaping panther.
Leaping panther.
You know, I know your kid likes it, so I won't say anything.
Yeah, he got one. I guess it was last year. He got one for Christmas because he likes the logo.
That is a really cool logo, though.
I'm gonna be the better person and not say what I probably said to you a million times before. Why you said that?
I just that logo was great. They've gone now to it almost looks like something you would wear like on your chest.
Like looks like this, It kind of looks.
Yeah. It's like oh, this Panther went to Harvard.
Yeah. The only thing I've learned in my life, especially with having kids, is I'll just say this: if Keith likes it, I like it.
There you go. There you go.
You don't ruin children's view of the world because it's better than ours.
Exactly.
All right.
There you go.
So for baseball, I've got since I couldn't do the Phillies powder blue, went to Kansas City Royals powder blue because I think those were pretty sharp.
Okay.
But I also dig the St. Louis Cardinals and the Baltimore Orioles have some pretty snazzy
with you at all.
Like that, not the new kind of stuff, but like the old school, the white with the logo across. I just think those were
the Cardinals with the baseball bat and the 2 Cardinals perched on either side of the bat. You can't find a better looking uniform to wear, I think, outside of the city of Philadelphia, really. I think that's like one of the best all time. Yeah.
And the same thing with the Orioles, with Oriole written across, the Orioles written in the smiley.
Yeah, the cartoon bird. Oh yeah, when they went back to the cartoon bird, I thought that was the best thing, best move they ever made. Yeah.
Even when they went with the black jerseys, the Orioles, it still looked good on the black jersey.
Oh yeah.
Like it did that Oriole spelled out. It was
perfect. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It was perfect.
Yeah. All right, so that's the 5 good.
No, I've
got more. No. Okay.
Cards and Orioles were just as an aside.
Oh, okay.
Cool side note.
NFL, I went with the Miami Dolphins.
Ooh,
the blue jersey.
Yeah,
light blue, like baby blue.
Yeah,
jersey.
the aqua color. Yeah,
Yeah, I like those.
I can't go wrong. Yeah, really. I mean, because it's a unique color, and you're thinking like, can you really pull it? You can pull that off. You got the right color combination, and I think it works with the orange and the white because you got that nice Miami. Yeah, it's a real good color. I like that. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
And then for basketball, I came up with 2.
Okay.
San Antonio Spurs, the all black unis.
Phenomenal.
Black and silver.
Phenomenal jersey.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
And I did a lot to compile this list. I did a lot of searching on like best and worst jerseys. And I was actually surprised this one made a lot of the best lists because I thought it would have been opposite, even though I dug it. The Toronto Raptors dinosaur jersey
from the mid to late 90s.
This jersey.
What?
I don't think anybody hates it.
I don't see how you could. I just, I assume
it's definitely an acquired taste.
There's a raptor on a basketball jersey. I don't care what color it is. There's a raptor on a basketball
jersey. Yeah, exactly.
I was so happy when they were called the Toronto Raptors. I was like, this is great.
You know what I really liked back in the early
And Vince
90s?
Carter's up to his elbow.
This is a while back. The Phoenix Suns, when they had, because it was like that,
The Charles Barkley?
the Charles Barkley years, the Dan Marley years, where you had that sun, with a basketball serving as the sun. I thought that was the coolest looking jersey that you could wear.
That was close to making my list. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree
That
with
was like right up there. Yeah, I had a Dan Marley jersey. I bought that one years ago. I was like, wow. It was just like Marley 9, I think it was the number that he wore. But yeah, Marley was one of my favorites. I loved it.
John.
It was great.
John, what else you got?
All right, so I'll go with Steve with the sports. So we'll do it by sport. So hockey, absolutely favorite jersey of all time is the Dallas Stars jersey when they first moved. That was straight. It was straight across.
With straight stars across here. Yeah.
There was no garbage. You knew they were the Dallas. They had moved from Minnesota.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite jerseys. That was my favorite hockey jersey.
I'm glad you clarified that because I was going to kick you if you said the one where it just says Dallas across.
No, not the new one.
Yeah.
Not the new one with the D and the star. I don't like any of that.
The Madonna years you're talking about.
Yeah, the original
jerseys
that they brought. That's my favorite hockey jersey of all time.
Because that
green and black was good too.
Yeah, the green and the black, because it was all black with the green. Yeah.
Green, black, gold, kind of. It was a good combination. It really
good combination.
It was my favorite hockey.
Yep.
Basketball. That's a tough one. I'm going Charles Barkley, Houston Rockets.
Oh, wow.
That's my favorite. That red hot. Like that is one of my favorites.
Did they have gray in there too?
A little bit. They had a little bit of blue, a little bit of gray because they had the little spaceship.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, but it was like a pinstripe uniform, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yep. Love that.
I think I would have ditched the pinstripe. If you had that as a solid color and dropped the pinstripe uniform, that would have been really solid, I think.
I think so. I enjoyed those in basketball. Baseball. It's a tough one. I'm going to go like early 90s Minnesota Twins.
I can see that.
Kirby Puckett. Okay.
Kirby Puckett years. Yeah.
They had good, solid colors. They were one of the first to move
Not too flashy. Not too flashy.
Move it to the side with the number in the side, like the one we know of, Bryce Harper with the Nationals became famous. The Twins were one of the first ones to do that.
Yeah.
And then they had my favorite part was they had Twins when they were away, or no, they had Minnesota when they were away, Twins
at home.
And that's the way a jersey should be.
Exactly. Represent your city on the road. Home, everybody knows they're the Twins. Yeah.
Watch you. Yeah. I know who the Twins are. Cool. I'm ready to go.
On that note, I was very glad when they changed the rule in the NHL that you could wear your colored jersey at home. Because I always thought the colored ones were better than the white ones.
I agree.
You would only wear the colored ones on the road, and that pissed me off.
I was crap that they even changed it where you wore the colored ones at home. Like,
see, I think I'm
looking your colors at home. You show the crappy white one when you go away.
Right.
I'm looking at and I thought really in the 80s when everybody did have the white home jersey, the Flyers still got the orange, the shoulder, on the shoulders and the black.
Oh, I'm not saying that was really white jerseys weren't good.
No, yeah.
I'm just saying the colored ones are usually better
at home than they are on the road. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I agree. And I got my football is my last one.
Okay.
Which is not going to be very popular, but I think it's going to be popular because if you really look at it, the LaShawn McCoy Buffalo Bills one.
Okay.
When they went back kind of old school, but they kept a little bit of new school.
Okay.
That one, that was my favorite one.
A little bit of a throwback there. Okay. All right.
Fair.
I would say probably one of the best uniforms I've ever seen. This is going to probably piss Steve off. Sorry. A little spoiler alert. Chicago Blackhawks. I always thought that was a great looking jersey.
Can't complain.
Are
you talking
even though they stole a Stanley Cup from us, they did.
Are you talking 90s, or are you talking when they went back to throwback?
Roenick years. Roenick years, yeah.
Okay.
I always thought that was the best looking.
Red, white, black. You can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong with that.
I'm not going to.
India head. Yeah.
I'm not going to fight you. I agree that the Blackhawks have some good jerseys. I was just remembering when my son was very young, and he saw me watching a game on TV, and he's like, "And who's the team wearing the white?" I'm like, "Oh, that's the Red Wings." Well, who's the team wearing the red? Well, that's the Black
Hawks.
Hawks.
Yeah, that would confuse someone.
It was like, wait a minute, what's going on there? Then also another one, hockey, St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
I just love them. I love the blue color.
No matter what year you would like, all the way through, like some 67 all the way through now, they've always.
It didn't matter. Didn't matter.
What
they
about
added a little yellow in there? It still worked.
What about the one that had the red?
I don't remember. Yeah, back in the Gretzky years. That's probably a pass on that. Okay. Really.
They tried. They had Gretzky.
They tried. There was a little bit of a different. Yeah, they tried.
You were forced to watch that. That's why they did it.
But yeah, the Blues, they were like my second favorite.
What about football?
For sure. Football's hard. It's like I've kind of gone back and forth. I don't think there's any, like the one I crap on all the time is the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, that's just like, that's the worst uniform I've ever seen.
A little Philly hate there.
Yeah, a little Philly hate. It's hard to say. I agree with Steve. The Dolphins are like, they're so unique, but they pull it off really, really well. I've always liked Kansas City, like the red with the gold, gold pops with the white. Are you kidding me?
Can't go wrong.
I think that's a real good classic look. The Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, whatever they're called now, they have like that San Antonio vibe. They got the black with the silver. I always thought that was kind of cool, kind of old school. The Seahawks, to me, like in the 80s, 90s, before they went all crazy with like the lime green, they had the gray helmets with the kind of like the bluish looking jerseys with the white. I thought that was a really clean, classic look. Had the silver pants. I thought that was kind of cool. That kind of a deal. So I think those would be my top picks. For the good looking uniforms. Yeah.
All right, Steve, kill them. Kill them all.
Let's kill them all here with
I had two. I had two for hockey, but I'm going to let Matt take one because I know he's going to have another epic rant.
The Islanders, Gordon Fisherman.
Yeah, well, you just go. Might as well do it now. Go ahead.
That was so funny. That was like what I remember seeing that like in the old Modell Sporting Goods. I cracked up dying laughing. Like, who would wear something like this, man? Seriously, like out of the
Islanders, of course.
Like,
absolutely, the Islanders.
You were like the 4-time in a row Stanley Cup champions, and you've reduced your logo to this?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, really?
Fish stick man.
Gordon Fisherman. Get out of here. It's
I'll get mine out of the way really quick because they went back to it and it made me really mad. I actually yelled at my son when he told me they went back to it. The Phoenix Coyotes with the weird coyote and the stick. Dude, that just made me so angry when I heard that. I'm like, they went back to that piece of crap?
I liked that. I liked that one.
So I'm really?
I'm not a fan of 17 million different colors. It's like you put the Diamondbacks jersey in with the Suns jersey in with anything close. The Vegas jersey came in and they were like, this is going to be it.
Yeah, I would say anything Diamondbacks 2017 by the way for another one.
The dumb logo.
Yeah. Anything Diamondbacks related in 2017 where they've got like 55 million jerseys? No, not going to happen. Sorry. Give me a home or away. Like, I don't want to wear the other. Come on, these alternatives. Get out of here.
Hate for me for that jersey. Hate it. Hated it in black, hated it in white, hated it in whatever color
they wanted. Yeah.
All right. So my hockey one, since we got the fish stick man out of the way, the Buffalo Sabres when they did the little rainbow. I've seen it. I've seen it called the slug.
Yes.
That was bad.
The worst.
That was really, really bad. Yeah. That was just a buffalo head.
It was a buffalo head with a slug tail.
It was a slug, is what it was.
That's exactly what it was.
They ruined a really cool buffalo logo. Twice. They had great buffalo logos.
Yeah.
Talking about the blue and the yellow, and then when they went to the black, the Hashik years.
Yeah.
They ruined. Terrible. They tried to think so far out the box, they missed.
Yeah, it's like
that was a swing.
What makes that logo great is the sabers underneath the buffalo. That's exactly what they are. And it's like when they took the sabers away, it's like, what are you doing with all these buffalo heads? It's so ridiculous.
Buffalo.
Or they were even cool when they did the third jersey with just the sabers.
Yeah.
And you didn't need to know. And then you had the really good buffalo with the black jersey. Then they had the throwback 70s. They've always done good with jerseys, but Steve's right. That slug, oh my God.
That was bad. That was so
ruined Danny Briere's last year in Buffalo.
No question. No wonder he left.
This is how bad it is. I must have blocked that out, and I'm an aficionado with hockey jerseys. As soon as you said slug, I had to go back in the memory. I was like, ew, I remember that one.
It was disgusting.
That's really funny. What else you got?
All right, football.
Yes.
And Matt, you already brought this up. That Seattle Seahawks lime green.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
not
just
working.
Bad.
Not working. That's like part of their color rush uniform, I think. That's not working.
And just in general, the whole color rush thing, just for me, does not work.
Bad.
I mean, it hurts your eyes looking at the screen.
The kids love it.
It's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah.
It's like when the Denver Broncos played the Eagles and they were wearing nothing but orange with a blue helmet. I almost had to watch the game with my head down because I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't. My eyes can't do that. I'm too old for that.
Well, and think about it. They had their old school D on and that's a great logo, by the way. That's old school D with a horse head. But it's like they had a navy blue helmet, and it's like you got an orange jersey. It's like that ain't working, man. That's just not working.
I think what would make it better is if they took the Bronco and made it into a slug.
Maybe. It'd probably work out pretty well. Speaking of shitty football jerseys, the Rams New Jerseys, I hate them. Dude, just give me
We were talking about that in pre-production. Yeah.
Good. You're good. Give me the Kurt Warners. We're good. We're good. I don't care that you moved from LA, St. Louis to LA to St. Louis. You're going to be in Poughkeepsie by the end of your term.
2045, yeah. You're going to be there.
Stadiums and moving. The Rams should keep one jersey. I don't care where you go.
Yeah. You're talking the old Jim Everett.
Yeah. They could be the Ontario Rams next year as long as they bring the Kurt Warner Rams jersey with them, the Marshall Faulk, remember those guys?
Yep.
That jersey needs to stay with the Rams franchise forever.
Don't
Stop
leave
trying
from
to
that.
Think yourself. You did it good once in the shittiest franchise ever been in the NFL.
Let me tell you,
just stay there.
On top of that, Johnny, don't you love it when they have this patch on the upper right-hand corner, Los Angeles Rams written across there? I'm thinking, really? Everybody has they have the watermark. The Eagles are really good having their watermark there with the Eagles watermark there, but they've got Los Angeles Rams on the upper left. Are you kidding me with that?
Get
out of here.
They're selling to the highest bidder, and they already the NFL sucks, and that's why. Because stop trying to change stuff.
Yeah, it's just not going to work. Yeah.
All right, Matt, on the spot. Who's your worst football? Can't say Dallas.
Yeah, you can't say Dallas.
No, I can't say Dallas. It's really hard to pick.
There are a lot of bad ones.
There are really, some really bad ones. Minnesota, for one, purple just doesn't work for me, man.
Yeah, that's fine. It's iconic, but I understand.
Yeah, it's iconic with the franchise. It just doesn't work for me on football. No.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with.
And maybe the Chargers. The Chargers.
Which one?
They can't figure exactly. They can't figure themselves out. I think in the mid to late '90s, they had a really good look. Navy blue helmet. They got the white because that works. Because lightning is white, obviously when it strikes.
And they were cool
it's
when
yellow with the. They're trying to knock. It's on the white helmet. It's I know they're trying to go back to their AFL roots, and I get it, but it just doesn't work, and their numbers don't look right, and they have the number on the side that never looks right on a helmet.
And they need to move back to San Diego because that's just stupid.
And there's they have no fans in Los Angeles. I'm sorry, they just don't. And it's when you have your number on the side of the helmet, I'm sorry, it's you've lost your helmet? Come on, you got to know I'm wearing 14. There's my helmet. I got to pick it up.
By the way, that drives me nuts.
No.
In football is the number on the helmet. That's why I hate the Washington football team or whatever.
That's just not working.
Whatever. Dude, the number on the helmet is just that's so Bush League, high school, college.
Yeah.
I can't.
It works for Alabama. It doesn't work in the pros. I'm sorry.
I know, exactly. It only works for Alabama because it's been that way the entire time.
Yeah, Penn State tried it, I think, maybe for a coffee cup of a season, and that didn't work either. That was trying to rebrand that helmet with the white helmet with the blue stripe. You can't touch that.
Supposedly the football team is getting their new name next season, right?
Oh, really?
I think.
Why? I'm gonna riot.
I don't know how. Yeah, my gosh.
I wanted them to be the Washington Sentinels, but I don't.
Oh,
think
those guys.
Oh yeah.
I
don't think-
want them to be the Warriors. That was my favorite one.
There you go.
If you just did a cool W, like a good mainstream W with the 3 colors that they have,
I could see that.
I thought that would be cool because you could do the alternate Warrior.
But I think they're going to have red in the. They've got to have red somewhere, and I think it's going to be Red Hawks or something along those lines.
I doubt they're changing the color scheme. I think.
Yeah, I don't think they're changing the color scheme at all.
The color scheme won't change at all.
That's a really nice burgundy gold. Yeah. You got to stick with that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. It's a primary color. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love their jersey. Even their jerseys now
look
okay. I just don't like the helmet number.
Yeah.
It's dumb. You need a logo. Get a get a logo.
Yeah.
Like what? You're a national football team. My podcast had a logo. I don't.
Oh my gosh.
I have no.
Maybe we'll get Maya
on it.
We'll get Maya to do that. Maybe we'll get Maya to get her on. Get the the logo.
Put a football on the helmet.
Why are they taking that? Why are they taking? That's the thing that frustrates me. Why are they taking too long? Get a logo.
Yeah, not that.
I mean, Cleveland rebranded in like a month. What's taking Washington so long?
Yeah, easily.
They're in Washington. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Everything's slow in Washington.
What other like? Do you have any other like?
Oh yeah. I got a couple more to crap on. So
Let's
basketball.
Yep.
And this one was actually on a lot of best
Lakers. No kidding.
No. This one was actually on about a lot of best jersey lists, but I don't like it personally. The Miami Heat with their Vice jerseys.
Oh yeah.
Like the neon writing.
Hate it.
Not gonna work.
The
Miami Heat have always been the red with the yellow with the kind of goldish color.
Yeah.
Like why rebrand that?
Yeah, that neon thing.
That ain't working.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, I know it's trying to capture what the vibe of the city, but
I get it.
The vibe of the city in the 80s.
Yeah, it's not winning. It's not winning at all.
The drug cartels and all that kind of stuff going on down there.
Yeah, it reminds me of Scarface. That's
Bad basketball. Jeez.
Exactly. Yeah, that ain't working.
You know what I have to go with? I have to go with the original Nets jerseys.
You got to remind me what that looked like.
Like just
Derek Coleman years,
and they were white or they were. It
was blue. Red. Was it the Derek Coleman years?
Probably, yeah. It just said Nets across, and there was
with the number underneath. Yeah.
It was just bland.
Yeah.
It was like, we're the New Jersey Nets, just blah. Whatever color it was, the logo was the same color.
The fact that they made the fact that they made an NBA Finals is a disgrace to the NBA.
The fact that they ever employed one of the greatest players, Marbury, and had shitty jerseys for him. Like, with a player like that, you should have a real jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't, ever. They still, but thank God they're the Brooklyn Nets. It looks a little bit better now.
It looks a little bit better. Yeah, they're trying at least. Yeah. Oh man.
Or at least trying.
One of the ones that was on a lot of the best was the Allen Iverson era Sixers.
Yeah. I didn't like that at all.
I didn't like that one?
I like the Spectrum jerseys now. The ones they have now, the Spectrum jerseys, they're
kind of old school. Yeah.
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 I like them. And I like the Sixers.
Yeah.
I like the throwback ones they had. I like them.
See, whenever I think of the Sixers, I automatically think about Dr. J, Sixers. And that classic white with the Sixers and the number. I mean, I thought that was just the cleanest looking uniform you could ever play. I was like,
it's one of the best.
One of the best ever. Yeah. Sorry, we're spoiling that being a Philly fan, but yeah.
All right, Matt, what's your basketball uniform to shit on?
Probably if I had to think, Minnesota Timberwolves. I've never understood.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
you're right.
I don't get it. It's like the Timberwolves, and it's like they're trying to I know they're trying to rebrand. I get it, but it's like the Kevin Garnett Minnesota Timberwolves when they had Timberwolves written across the chest. It's like that ain't working, man. Sorry, that ain't working.
Like that's like,
and then they tried to shorten it to T-Wolves, and that didn't even work either. No.
The Timberwolves thing is like when Justin Abdelkader plays for the Red Wings, and his name has to do a loop because it's too long to fit.
Yeah, it's like all squished in there. It's like that ain't working, man. If you got to do that, that ain't working.
The Red Wings, by the way, have to do a better job of spreading the letters out between their players' names because
Yes.
Last time I saw them in person, their last names either had like 15 letters in them or they had like 3.
I remember this was years ago. I think I was like watching the NHL Network, and they were doing a preseason game of the Red Wings, and they had a different nameplate for all of their names, and it was like kind of like, I'll just like say, like, you know how the Eagles are now with their nameplates across, and you could read it, and it's like, oh wow, this looks really, really cool. Put that on a Red Wings jersey in like just solid white letters. Wow. And it was like condensed. It's not like, you know, theirs is more big, and it's like, and they're all squished together, and you can't really read it. It caused so much consternation in Detroit. Detroit fans were going nuts. They were like, I cannot believe this is happening to our team. Like, you've got to go back to like the original font. It was like the font size was like better. You could see who was, like, you could read the name and the number on the back, whereas like before it was like you couldn't really need it, and like the Red Wings fans are going crazy over this.
When you employ a player whose last name is actually spelled FRK,
yeah,
no vowels,
Kirk. Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have trouble figuring that out regardless of what font.
What is that? Is that Furk? Is that? I mean, what is that?
I think so.
They couldn't slip in an eye. What's going on there? It's like, what's happening there?
Oh no,
I don't know.
All right, so I'll close it out. Baseball. And this one doesn't really have anything to do with a logo or a color scheme. In 1970, I think it was 6, the Chicago White Sox tried to play in Bermuda shorts.
Oh,
yes.
Which
that is an epic foul. Sorry, in baseball, that's an epic foul.
Apart from being a horrible fashion statement,
yeah,
practically having played baseball myself, I really don't understand that decision.
That's an epic foul on so many proportions. We got to throw that. We got to like somehow get a picture of that. Oh my gosh, that is just awful.
Bad.
John, get on that.
Yeah, I'll work on that right now.
That's just bad.
And as an aside on the baseball, the 70s Pittsburgh Pirates, I also have to crap on.
The yellow and black just doesn't work.
Well, yellow and black can work, but when it's like all yellow, I mean, like my shirt here is all yellow, but you know, I'm not a professional baseball team.
Yeah.
And to top it all off, they had those ugly hats.
Yeah.
That were like boxes.
No doubt.
And the whole thing just didn't work for me.
No doubt. Yeah, that's really, really cool.
All right, John, what's your baseball?
Oh, okay. So we'll close it out here as we're getting not feeling well over here. But if we had to do real quick, if we had any New Year's resolutions, 2022, gents, real quick, if we had to.
Let's see.
I'm gonna pass to Matt.
I don't really have anything here.
I'm not a big fan of New Year's resolutions, to be honest with you.
Neither am I, so we'll move on. Let's do
We'll just close it out with there. Yeah, let's hit it out with our shameless plugs. And we'll do a little of those to close out episode 65 of Two Noobs Talking. Johnny, why don't you go ahead? Where can people find us real fast?
Oh, you can find us on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. Finally, thanks for liking everything that I post on Twitter.
Oh, there you go.
Even though, Steve, it's very little, but you like it, and that's good. We're on Instagram. We do short videos, try to entice you to come to our
YouTube channel. Of course, it's our Two Noobs Talking podcast. Like, share, subscribe, and get notified when our episodes drop. And on the audio side, Steve.
All right, we are proudly We're proudly hosted by Podbean. We're also on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio. We got some love on John's favorite, Crapify. We're on there too.
We'll just zip that by real quick because
you
scared it half to death. There you go. There you go. That's awesome. And our show notes, of course, twonibbstalking.wordpress.com. We'll post everything that we've mentioned here today. It's a great place to go. Obviously, you enter in your email address and you hit enter. The show notes show up in your inbox the very next day. My thanks to Steve. My thanks to John for joining me on our Two Noobs Talking episode 65. Until then, talk to you all next week. See you in the VR world.
Going back to space.
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed. That's a great question. What is the long-term effect of too much information? One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be true anymore.